best person to judge a workman's performance should and must be.
My name is Liaw, employment lawyer and the principal of Liaw Chambers.
Who will decide a person is a poor performer or not? Who will judge the performance? The case law is very clear. The court always says that performance by its very nature is subjective, and the best person to judge a workman's performance should and must be the employer. The court is basically saying that when it comes to performance of work, the court itself is not always the best person to judge. Why? Because this internal performance issue is directly related to the company and is the knowledge within the company only. What do I mean by that? If an employer say that the employee do things slow, do things inefficiently, do things not up to the standard, who is the judge who has never done the job before, who is never in the company, who has never hold the position of the superior to this employee? Who is the judge to decide that this is a good work or this is a poor work, or he could do it faster, he could do it better? It's very hard for the judge to decide. So the judge says that this is the principle of law to say that the best person to judge is not me, it's the employer. It's the employer who will decide whether this employee is performing or not. So a lot of regard is given to the employer. Another example, especially in the artistic or creative kind of industry, design work, it's very hard for court to come in and say that, oh, this is good design, this is a good art, this is good color, this is good work. It's very hard because it's very subjective. But who is the best person that can say it's a poor work? Is the boss. The boss who have hired people, who have produced work, who has told the expectations of what kind of art I want to expect, what kind of colors that I expect, what kind of design that I expect. So only the employer is the best position to say that this work is a poor piece of work, this is not a good job, and therefore you're not a good performer. So the court has said that the regard is on the employer. As courts have recognized, the employer is entitled to organize his business in the matter it considers best. The manner of assessment and yardstick to be used to gauge performance is the employer's prerogative and judgment. It's the employer who will decide how to run the business. It's the employer who decides what kind of product the company wants to produce. Employer is the best person to say whether this employee is a good performer or not. So for example, I run a law firm. I know what kind of work I want to produce to my clients. I know what is the turnover I expect to give to the client. As I know for our firm, we must give a piece of work within 2 days of being instructed. That is the standard that I set. That is how I want to run the firm. I also know if I give a piece of work, it must be no mistake. It must be all clearly stated. These things must be inside the document. So it is for me to judge whether an employee, when they produce the work, whether he's performing or not. It is not for the court to decide. The court wouldn't know. The court can say, oh, you see, the other company takes longer time, but that's the other company. I'm his employer. It's me who decide whether he's performing or not. So the employer is the person that should judge. But the key principle, the big but, very key important principle is the employer must always act in a bona fide manner. It acts in good faith, meaning it's not capriciously, meaning like arbitrarily, simply only. It is not motives of victimization. You target this person, you don't like this person, therefore everything he do is not good, but another person who does the same thing, same way, suddenly it's good. It's not discriminatory. Everything that this group of employees do is not good. It's not motivated by any unfair labor practice. Then only he's entitled to terminate employee for poor performance.